Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Colonel Douglas McGregor joins us now. Colonel McGregor, a pleasure, my dear friend. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for accommodating our schedule. You have a terrific piece at your Substack called The Iran War, A Failure of Imagination. But before we get there, Colonel, to the topic that seems to be on everyone's mind today. Is there a ceasefire in the Israeli US war on Iran, or isn't there?
I don't think there is one, but we're going to continue to talk about it because I think we still want to send somebody to Islamabad for a meeting. Whether or not that still happens, I don't know, but I think some people in Washington still hope to do that.
Shalom, Kol Yahabashimil, Shabbat Shemakakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, even those that came before them and taught us his truth. Shabbat Shalom, Salakia. Shabbat Shalom and salutation to all the brothers up pushing the word of the truth and the sincerity and hopeful love tabernacle of David. The elder Yahshua, Shabbat Shalom and salutations to you all. Salakia. This is the World War III Daily Update, and we got Dougie Doug here. Old Dougie Fresh is giving it up. His book is called Iran War, A Failure of Imagination. And Judge Naps over here is directing the show. And let's see, what are we gonna say? What are we gonna say here? The failed war, right? Failure of imagination. Let's just start right here. Second Ezra 9:3. Here's your failure of imagination right here. Confused rulers, unstable leaders. Going to what? This imagination. Confusion, right? And what is it? It's unstable and confused. These guys are.
See,
As we speak, the Vice President of the United States is somewhere between Washington and Islamabad. And accompanying him are two people the Iranians say they never want to hear from again. That would be Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. So I don't know how this is going to work, what kind of a dance is going to go on, if they're going to be in the same room, the same building, or what. But
who are Witkoff and Kushner? Well, they would fall under what? Leaders. Unstable leaders, right? Even rulers. Kushner is Netanyahu's boy. All right? That dude is sent into the Trump family to infiltrate from inside, right? And now he's calling the shots. Jared Kushner is, if you understand who he is. So just as these people with brass, so to speak, like the president is also the commander in chief. He's brass, if you understand. Okay, well, who's conducting Donald Trump? Well, Jared Kushner. So he's above that brass. He's a leader. He's a ruler. Okay, Netanyahu is what? Okay, he's above Trump clearly. Right, going to what? The least of the flock. They're the head. They're the chief house in that situation. As far as the Dukes are concerned. So anyway, let me let this guy talk even more. Salakia, rambling.
Currently, the vice president is going to proceed with this. There seems to be a dispute over whether or not Lebanon and the ability of the Israelis to slaughter Lebanese people is covered by the
Wow.
ceasefire and the status of the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, what?
But are the Lebanese people getting slaughtered, or are the IDF getting slaughtered? Okay. Two things going on. Not just wholesale Gaza. Right now, the other side is finding out what Gaza is really all about.
A ceasefire is this where nothing is written down?
Well, that's a good point. There is nothing in writing, and if it's not in writing, it means it probably doesn't exist. But I think there is a serious interest in finding some way to slow down or pause this war. I think what President Trump is probably looking for is.
Dougie's talking about what? Peace and safety. And the answer to peace and safety is more in a different level of war. Sudden destruction.
Is an intermission. Now, I just received a note that came in a few minutes ago indicating.
He just said that. He said that, oh, they're asking for a ceasefire or whatever. That's an intermission. The war's not.
Down or pause this war. I think what President Trump is probably looking for is an intermission. Now, I just received a note that came in a few minutes ago indicating that Prime Minister Netanyahu is interested in talking to the Lebanese about the ongoing conflict. I don't know what he's going to talk about. It looks to me as though the intention in Lebanon is unambiguous. They want to utterly destroy everything south of the Litani River, and they're going to pound the living daylights out of everybody north of the Litani River until they get what they want.
No matter what.
But perhaps Prime Minister Netanyahu is trying somehow or another to align himself with President Trump on the idea of a ceasefire, at least a temporary one.
Here's what President Netanyahu said last night about Lebanon.
Okay, so this is the latest information. Okay, well, what's going on in the world? Well, here's the answer to that. Okay, no ceasefire. Why? Because they couldn't come to a term with what is going on in Lebanon, so the entire ceasefire falls apart on that. Okay, so no ceasefire, no nothing. Does Trump still have a bloody nose? What goes on with that? We have to see how this thing, what they call, shakes out. But basically, no ceasefire, and there's a war going on. A war for what? Control of the straits. Okay, right now, Babylon is in straits. All right, he shall be in straits when he is about to fill his belly. All right, he's in the Bab el-Mandeb, and he's in the Hormuz Straits.
Have said that have insisted that the ceasefire with Iran does not include Lebanon, and this is what is happening. Today, we have dealt Hezbollah the biggest blow that it has suffered since the pager operation.
Okay, so basically what they're saying, oh, well, we're up to our old tricks. Yeah, we said everybody, Lebanon and everybody. And we did our normal bait and switch, and here we are on that side of it. Come on. And we're going to keep on doing it. We're going to keep on doing it until the nukes go off. That's all.
We targeted 100 command sites, headquarters, in 10 minutes.
We're going to keep on doing our little tricks until the nukes go off.
Colonel, they targeted a downtown shopping district and residential suburbs. How can this possibly be justified by any universally accepted standard of human behavior?
Well, it's not. You can level city blocks, and that's what they've done. And
like the move, like they did the movement, right? In Philadelphia, yeah, you can level blocks.
I don't think the Israelis particularly care. We have to be frank and honest and open about what we're dealing with. Israel has a plan to essentially turn most of the region that doesn't submit to their dominance into Gaza, or the facsimile of Gaza. And now President Trump may not personally support that, but he's effectively enabling it. And what he's trying to do is to buy some time for, I think, our forces in the region.
All the troops that went over there are still there. So is this thing over? No, they're just waiting for reinforcement, for logistics, for the time to be right to do whatever it is that they're there for.
Rearm, refresh, refit, and get ready for the next round, which President Trump hopes will be the final round. That's about it. I think that sums up the situation very well.
What did the United States of America gain from the 6-week war so far?
We lost. Doug is I'm gonna let him expound upon she is fallen is fallen. You gotta understand, this is the Most High bringing Babylon the Great to her knees. She has no might. The emperor has no clothes. It's looking real bad. All right, it's looking bad. This the truth is out there. There's blood in the water, and these sharks are out.
Well, that's a good question. Before the war began, there was no problem with the Strait of Hormuz. Vessels were moving in and out. The global economy was actually doing pretty well. The global south, which suffers the most as a result of the closure of the strait, was in good shape. Now, all of a sudden, the global economy is on the road to some sort of economic depression unless a miracle occurs and we stop the war within the next few days. And I think we have to understand that the North Africa and the Middle East, all of these countries are now dumping the dollar. They are moving rapidly towards de-dollarization. So that's, I think, the de facto end of the petrodollar, although I suspect the next round of attacks on Iran will provoke what the Iranians have promised to do, which is that if you attack our oil infrastructure, you attack our desalination plants, we will do the same thing to the west side of the Gulf, in which case the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait and the rest will effectively cease to exist. And the pipelines that run from the Persian Gulf over to the Red Sea, those things will be destroyed. They're easily identified, and once you've destroyed them, oil is not going to move any further to the west. We have the Houthis, of course, who are poised to shut down the Red Sea in any case. So I think we're at the last possible moment. This is the sort of strategic inflection point. Either we sit down willing to compromise, and I don't see any evidence that we are, or we continue the war and bring down the global economy. That's effectively where we're headed.
I'll stop it right there. Well, guess what? It's all going to culminate into being brought down, right? Because let's just get this. I haven't got this in a while. Here's the aftermath. It's Revelation 11, I guess. Haven't been here in a while, but let's see. 11 and 13. Revelation 11 and 13. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. Now, what happened in this great earthquake? That was the culmination of all those wars. In America, right? Babylon the Great is no more. Okay? And there ain't no more need for war after that. All right?
I think I've probably asked you this before, and I don't mean it with tongue in cheek. Is Israel the client state of the United States or its master?
Well, I think you just had some evidence to answer that question because initially, I guess, the draft that we put together for the Packies concerning this ceasefire did not specifically mentioned Lebanon as part of it and was not excluded. the Pakis took the draft that we gave them, they turned it around and launched it to both Iran and then back to us, of course, as part of the theater. And suddenly a call came in from Mr. Netanyahu after he discovered that Lebanon was part of the deal and said, no, 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 this can't happen.
So Lebanon was part of the deal. And there it is. Okay. So now who's the problem? The small hat is the problem. What is he doing? He's dragging him. He's drawing him out. He knows exactly what he's doing. Okay. If there's a ceasefire, he's lobbing missiles. All right. And how do we know this? Well, we know what the scriptures say. And we know this. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Where's the devil? Where's Amalek the devil at? There he is. Lest Satan. Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We know all about Amalek and what he's up to. So with that,
at which point in time, President Trump said, oh, no, no, we're sorry, we made a mistake. Lebanon is not part of the deal. And now.
There they go. Well, let's back out. We never meant it in the first place. We're stalling for time. With that we pray that the Allah gratifies you, brothers and sisters. Shalom.